Feel the power of you controlling your breathing. In through your nose and out through your mouth. You've got your legs crossed, your back straight, your eyes closed. You remember the truth. You know the truth that you were born to win, to take control of your life the way you take control of your breathing. One breath at a time, one thought at a time. So let's do that right now. Let's see ourselves doing the best we can as we begin our day today in the best way possible. Winning the morning, winning our mind, and growing our minds and our bodies. And whatever
In the night I lie and look up at you. When the morning comes I watch you rise. There's a paradise they couldn't capture, that bright infinity inside your eyes.
매일 밤 내게 날아가 꿈이란 것도 잊은 채 난 웃으며 너를 만나 Never ending forever baby.
어둠이 내겐 더 변했었지. 길어진 그림자 속에서
And the thought that we can't be together Because we come from different sides. You are my universe and I just want to put you first. You are my universe and you make my world light up inside. My universe, my universe, my universe. 나를 밝혀주는 건 너란 사랑으로 수놓아진 별내 우주에 넌 다른 세상을 만들어주는 걸. 너는 내 별이자 나의 호주니까 지금 이 시련도 결국엔 잠시니까 너는 언제까지나 지금처럼 밝게만 빛나줘. 우리는 나로 따라 이긴 밤을 수놓고 너와 함께 날아가 When I'm without you I'm crazy. 자 어서 내 손을 잡아 We are made of each other baby. You are my universe and I just want to put you first. You are my universe and you make the world light up inside. My universe, my universe, my universe.
Det er vakkert! Og for en skåring! Har du sett? Ai, 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 ai! Morten Gra
Morning, guys. Want to share with you a powerful secret today that will move us from mind power, maintain our mind health, and then move us towards mind wealth, which is the true destiny of all of us. We are all meant to be happy, free, successful, and not allow anything in life, no matter how negative or bad, to bother us. And it is this. When I read Your One Word by Evan Carmichael, and when I found my one word, it changed everything, all in a flash of lightning. When I realized that everything in my life, everything I like, everything I gravitate towards, the people I hang out with, it's all about determination for me. I said, enough. Once I made that decision, I cut myself off from retreating. I started writing my book, and here I am. Find your one word. You're one word away from your greatness.
I think about this topic of calm striving. And I think about it from a lot of different perspectives. I think about it from the perspective as just a human being who's waking up and moving through the world and really working to try and achieve meaningful things in my own life. I think about it in the context of work. I am somebody who is wired to create things. My sparchetype or impulse for work that makes me come alive is the maker. So I wake up in the morning and it is about making ideas manifest, the process of creation. It's this fiercely generative state. We are in a moment in time right now where we're sort of coming back to a place of relative calm, but at the same time there's a lot of groundlessness. So working to access a sense of calm when we feel like the ground beneath us is perpetually moving is a really challenging thing. And that's a challenging thing just in the context of being alive, of moving through each day. And then when we layer on top of that, the notion of striving to be a better person, striving to deepen into our relationships and be present, striving to build something substantial in the world, striving to show up as more ourselves, striving to bring something new into the world as I have recently, it can be a challenge. And so I was thinking about this topic. It's something I reflect on a lot because I am somebody who is driven to work hard and to try and make a lot of things happen. And at the same time, I deeply value my sense of peace and ease and equanimity. And I'm always balancing these two different things with each other. And trying to figure out how do I actually step into life, set big goals, have grand visions, work towards them, deal with all of the things that, the stumbles and the fumbles and the mistakes and the obstacles that come my way, because they always happen, and not get completely knocked over by them. Because a lot of moments in my life I have been in the middle of a process and things didn't go the way that I wanted. And they just absolutely crushed me. And, I spent a lot of years trying to figure out, how do I approach things differently? How do I approach the process of striving to do something that really matters to me, or to be more of the person who I hope to be in the world? And also at the same time, do it in a way where I'm not letting go of as much of a sense of persistent ease, persistent grace as possible. And I've experimented with a lot of different things over the years. I've looked at a lot of different productivity tools and platforms, techniques, strategies. Fortunate to be friends with some folks who are some of the leading thinkers in this space. And you all have incredible exposure to many of those folks right here in Growth Day who have been sharing awesome things throughout the month with you. And I thought today I might take a little bit of a meta lens on this topic of calm striving, which, if you have listened into my previous Growth Day coaching sessions, you're probably not so surprised at, because it kind of tends to be my approach. I take sort of like a broader lens and a bit of a holistic approach. And I tend to think in frameworks that are helpful at least to me, and hopefully to other people too, hopefully to you. So I want to share a bit of a framework that has been floating around in my mind for a while now. So know your why, right? So what am I talking about there? When you're working to do something, that very often requires a huge amount of effort. And that doesn't happen instantly, but unfolds over a period of time where you know there are going to be obstacles and all sorts of challenges that drop into the path. A lot of times, if we just basically say, this is the thing I want to do, it makes sense to me, and then start marching down that path to try and achieve it, we're stepping into a space of striving. When the obstacles start to drop into our way, when the challenges that we didn't see coming happen, when things don't go as imagined, when the assumptions that we thought were sort of critical to our saying yes to this particular thing start to get proven to be wrong, which happens all day, every day, whether it's writing a book, whether it's launching a company or a business or a project or brand. When that happens, it can bring you to your knees pretty quickly. What I found is one of the things that both allows you to return to an action stance and return to a baseline level of calm and ease is having a lot of clarity around the reason that you said yes to this in the first place. Really understanding your why on a deep level. Because that basically lets you revisit this thing and say, okay, so things didn't go as I planned. Things didn't go as I wanted them to go. And I didn't even see this coming. But if I really understand why I said yes to this, and if the reason why is deep and meaningful to me, and I still believe it's possible, that will allow me to kind of let go of the anxiety spin, to let go of the self-flagellation, to let go of the negativity or the doomsday scenarios. Say, okay, this isn't going the way I thought it was going, but I am deeply committed because I understand why I said yes to this project in the first place. And it means so much to me. And I still believe this is possible, that I'm going to keep going. And that also allows me to come back to a place where I can kind of say, I didn't want this. I didn't expect it, but I care about continuing on. And I'm going to come back to center here. I'm going to keep returning to my fundamental reason why. And that brings me a certain grounding experience. So that has happened numerous times in the context of writing the book Sparked. I have, I started these ideas literally after 9/11. They've been brewing for almost 2 decades. We sold the book in March of 2020, and I was immediately heads down, literally as the city, New York City, was shutting down. I had just signed a book deal and I was deepening into the process of writing what I thought would be a relatively straightforward process, what I thought would be the opportunity to travel around, talk to tons of different people, interview them, certain amount of spaciousness that would make it easy for me to kind of vanish into my creative cave, know everything would be okay, know that all the other things would be, kind of humming along, know that the podcast, which is a central part of my devotion, it's an entire company that, we employ people, and it's a big part of, the revenue that allows me to sustain myself in the road, that would just kind of keep on keeping on. And in the blink of an eye, it didn't. Part of our podcast was based around the notion that we had a studio in New York and we only recorded in person. That was part of our value set, our production value commitment. And I blinked and that all had to end, which means that we had to spend a huge amount of time completely reimagining what that production was like, what the schedule was like, what the process was like, whether we could even continue and produce something that I would still be proud of. And that took a huge amount of effort that I didn't plan for, I didn't expect, and I didn't ask for, and I didn't want, to be honest with you. And that took me away from the process of writing a book, of meeting a deadline. And then there was like deep and profound concern about my family and about the city that I lived in, about the world around me, that consumed a huge amount of my cognitive and creative and emotional and spiritual bandwidth. I didn't see any of that coming. I didn't plan for any of it. And it really started to intrude on my ability to write, to do this thing that I was striving to do, let alone do it in a calm way, just to do it at all. And one of the things that really brought me back to center was I said to myself, why did I actually say yes to writing this book? Why did I say now is the time for me to sit down and write this book called Sparked and these ideas out into the world? And my answer was, for whatever reason, the research that we've done over the years has led me to a unique insight, which is that we all have a unique imprint for work that makes us come alive. And the development of tools and ideas. And I was sitting on a giant reservoir of stories and information and intel in my head that I truly believed would be helpful in some meaningful way to other people, and it was important for me to extract that from my head, both so that there was something that people could reference that wasn't just always coming to me, but also because I believe that we spend the vast majority of our waking hours doing this thing called work. And if that thing does not in some meaningful way give us the experience of meaning or purpose or the ability to lose ourselves in flow and express the essence of who we are, then we spend the vast majority of our waking hours doing something that is largely more emptying than filling. And that to me is not okay. It's not okay in my own life. And if I could play even the smallest role in helping folks see a different way, navigate, this thing called work differently, it was really important to me to write this book, to do this by
Han gör det!
What a pass from Rodrigo de Paul for Di Maria. That's just glorious from Argentina. Spectacular pass. An even more spectacular finish.
Good morning, guys. Top 10 rules for success. Today, Warren Buffett shares with us something so powerful, and it's connected to what we're talking about in developing our mind wealth. And I think it is a sure sign that you have or are on the path of infinite mind wealth. And that is Warren Buffett, the greatest investor, one of the guys who's the best at making money in the world through making decisions, calculated decisions. He says that the greatest secret he's learned is the power of unconditional love. And he refers to the power that a parent has for a child. He goes on to tell us today that knowing that you can come back and people will love you no matter what, and we all have that capability to have that unconditional love for everyone, he says that's the most powerful lesson he learned. It can unlock the full potential of all of us. So think about that. The greatest investor in the world is talking about unconditional love. May we all use it for everyone. Have a great day.
Life is always now. This seems almost too obvious to state, but most people live in a way that almost contradicts the simple fact that life is always now. They live as if some future moment were more important than this moment. So most people always live towards the next moment. They're always on their way towards the next moment. So if they get very old, then usually they live in the past and they still don't live in the present moment. So we're not talking here about making plans, and on a practical level, all this is necessary and great, making plans what to do with your life or what to do the next day. But most people are never at home in the present moment. There's always something missing. There's an inner feeling that I need to get to the next moment where I will find some kind of completion or fulfillment. But when they get to the next moment, another next moment appears that they need to get to.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to believe in myself. I quit on my business partner. And the thing that saved me was watching the successful stories of entrepreneurs. They gave me the inspiration to keep going, as well as the strategies of what to do. And quite honestly, I still need their stories and motivation today as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Eckhart Tolle, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
So there's first of all the simple fact that life is always now. So we can learn, instead of continuously ignoring the present moment, we can first of all realize the amazing fact that your entire life is experienced in and as the present moment. Life is never not the present moment. So it's the most precious thing we have. We could say it's the only thing we have, because the future, what we call the future, never actually comes. Nobody has ever experienced the future, because the moment the so-called future comes, we experience it as the present moment. Again, the past, when we talk or think about the past, we can only do that in the present moment. So even thinking about the past and thinking about future is ultimately happens in the present moment. Now, when we are always mentally projecting forward into the next moment, we miss the aliveness and vitality of this moment, which is ultimately all there ever is. I think it's an amazing realization that many people never actually get to a place where they are able to, except for brief moments, where they're able to come into a good relationship with the present moment. It's amazing. There are millions of people on the planet who live in an almost antagonistic relationship with the present moment. They don't want to be where they are. They'd rather be somewhere else. they may be engaged in some kind of activity, but they'd rather be doing something else, or they'd rather be already at the end of this particular activity. They may be with somebody, but they don't really want to be with them. They'd rather be somewhere else. You know the bumper sticker on some cars that says it's like things like, I'd rather be golfing, I'd rather be fishing. So there's this strange fact that the present moment is treated by people internally either as antagonistic, I just need to get to some better moment, or as a means to an end. It's always a means to an end. So when you're engaged in an activity, you're already mentally projecting yourself to the next moment where the activity comes to an end, or whatever you want to achieve through the activity. So it's like being on a journey and all mentally projecting yourself to the destination and not realizing that the journey takes, let's say you're on a journey, it takes a week. Arriving at the destination is one brief moment, and there you are. It takes 1 week to get there, but if you reduce the value of the steps that you are taking in this moment, if you reduce that to always only a means to an end, then your entire life becomes a means to an end. An end that never really arrives, because when you arrive at that moment, then something else immediately pops up that you need to reach.
Rule number 2 is challenge yourself.
You need the challenge, and you need to challenge yourself. If you want to create something, if you want to bring about some change in this world, you want to make your life, your so-called life, better, you're looking to achieve this or to learn this or to acquire this, that's part of being human. We don't deny that. And if you don't want to achieve anything, let's say you have no ambition whatsoever, you say, oh, it's all pointless, because you don't want to challenge yourself, then life will challenge you even more. If you challenging yourself would be even to engage in physical activity and jogging. You're challenging yourself, or you're lifting weights. You're challenging the body on a physical level. The only way you can make the body stronger, the physical body, is by making, I'll put it like this, it's a strange way of putting it, but it's true. You have to make life difficult for your body, otherwise it doesn't get stronger. Well, to lift a weight is, if you ask the body, would you rather have a good, just relax or lift this weight? Oh no, I just want to relax. I don't want to make my life more difficult than it needs to be, so I just, you don't get stronger without that. But when you make life difficult for the body, then more energy is demanded and more energy comes flowing in. The energy doesn't come until you demand it. There's a request or a demand for energy because there's a gap between what you want and what, at the moment the body doesn't have enough energy and suddenly it comes. And then you reach a point when an influx of energy starts, then it's no longer perceived that you make life difficult for your body. Once the energy starts flowing, the body enjoys this flow of energy. But before the energy starts flowing, life was difficult for the body. And so you meet the threshold of life gets difficult for the body, and then energy comes in, and then suddenly not even perceived as difficult anymore. And that you may experience it every day when you start exercising.
Rule number 3 is align to deeper purpose.
When I look
It's like I'm living a dream, but it's how everyone feels. We all unite with one feel. So let's wave our hands. We can sing, we can dance. We are strong, hold on tight. From afar we unite. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our. This is the time of our. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. I love this moment right now. No one can take it away. So let it happen and how. It's why I cherish each day. So let's wave our hands. We can sing, we can dance. We are strong, hold on tight. From afar we unite.
Here we go.
Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. What we see, destiny. Realize now we all know the greatest. Ah yeah, ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our lives. Ah yeah, here we go, ah yeah. This is the time of our.
Into Johnson, puts it back to Coleman. Coleman. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Coleman! That is stunning! From a wide left position, 15 yards out. He's flying it.
Hey guys, I'm really excited, really pumped up about this. I want to start a new series and just put a lighter note on things. When we go on a path of going from mind power, maintaining our mind health, and moving to infinite mind wealth, a lot of it is difficult to understand. It's painful to sometimes go deep within ourselves and try to be the best we can be, but it's a great path and I want us to have fun with it. So what I thought we'd do today is start a series, and I can start us off. I want to start showing you how it's okay to laugh at ourselves. And I know I got to do more of this. So I want to share with you something that I watched in a video. I watched Evan Carmichael once referred to how we need to just be able to take shots at our ego. So I remember him referring to the fact that we're not good at what we're doing, even though we're trying to get to that place. And that's okay. So I want you to look at me, look back on my videos, look at my path and watch I'm not good at what I'm doing. I know I'm not, but I'm always on the path to get better. So hope this helps you. Laugh at yourself. Have a great day, everybody.
I am fascinated by how people respond to when I talk about accountability. It's poking, and so people don't want it, yet it's everything. It will do so much for people. It's life-changing, and right now the world is going the other way. It's telling you what every single thing is bad, and everything, social media, traditional media, politics, society is pushing everyone to see the thing they should blame for their unhappiness, and the second you go to accountability, all your happiness starts to build.
But it gets a little bit lonely sometimes.
Of course.
You know, shut everybody out.
Yeah, but the problem is I'd rather be lonely with myself and accountability than to have people around me that are pushing non-accountability. Having circles of energy that are pushing non-accountability, all those friends, the media, your feed, your friends who are pushing blame and envy and jealousy, I'd rather be by myself and accountability.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to stay afloat. I quit on my business partner, and the thing that kept me motivated, that kept me going, was studying the stories of famous, successful entrepreneurs. And in their stories, it gave me the hope, the drive, the ambition, the thinking that maybe I can do it too, that extra bit of belief. And I still need their stories today, and I'm honored to share them with you here as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Gary Vaynerchuk, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is make your brand matter.
People have just not made the commitment to realizing brand is actually built in social. Social by nature allows you to create more creative. When you're able to create more creative, you're able to focus on relevance, not just awareness. I believe every Fortune 500 brand does not have an awareness issue. That's why they're a Fortune 500 brand. They have a relevance issue. How do you make Nike matter to every single person? How do you make Apple, BMW, Prada? How do you make it actually matter? The way you make it matter is by storytelling. The way you make it matter is that story has to hit you. Me, you, Dustin, Menno. We have different things that are gonna make us interested. Yep. Social is conducive to that kind of output. Plus, we now live in a world where the algorithms are rewarding content that is interesting to people. That by nature creates consumer insights. Consumer insights are the starting point to do great work, right? If you know something about what people are already interested in, you have a better chance of making something that they're interested in, thus rendering them to do the thing you want them to do. And in the context of this, it means to buy something. So, you know, I think the brands in the Middle East and the world need to make a bigger commitment to output, more volume, more platform strategy, more creative strategy, more cultural strategy. We call it PAC, platforms and culture. And I think the faster they do that, the more likely they'll gain market share. And I think every brand has to go through that journey.
Rule number 3 is utilize social media.
World. Let me explain to you, for everyone who's like, these platforms make all the money and they're using me and I'm getting used. Let's just talk about it. Dustin, do you know if it does cost or does not cost money to put an ad in a newspaper? Do you think you can call a newspaper and say, hey, I'd like you to put a full page ad and here's what I'd like you to put and I'd prefer you charge me nothing?
That is not
possible. Right. Do you think I can call CNN right now and say, hey CNN, hey Fox, hey CBS, hey ABC, I would like to run a video in between your hit shows, a commercial, and I would like to pay you nothing for that? Okay, that billboard outside right behind you. Do you think I can call that number and say, hey, I'd like to put up the vinyl that goes there to say, follow VFriends on social media and please charge me nothing?
Absolutely not.
Do you believe I can call Howard Stern's show on Sirius and say, hey, Howard, listen, you know how you read these things in between the show? And you're like, go to vfriends.com. Do you think Howard would do that for free?
Hell no.
Cool. Now, these social networks say, hey, we're open, create an account, post something, and something can happen. And it costs $0 from us. This whole concept that these social networks have the man has used social networks for their benefit. I've built a humongous audience on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and I haven't paid those companies a single penny. And when I sell empathy and schmempathy and all this, like that, where does that come from? This is a ludicrous conversation. I can't wait for decentralized social networks where you have to build your own audience.
Where you're not maybe, I guess, not relying on an algorithm to.
You post and people are there. You're getting access to people. People love to cry about things that they take for granted. When I was older, I was like, wait a minute, what? Email? I could just send email and not be charged? Twitter? Wait, so let me get this right. This is why I freaked out about Twitter. Back to buying stuff. So I get to post, people follow me, and they can share so I get word of mouth and distribution, and the platform's not charging me? And by the way, here it comes. Twitter's about to charge for and you know what everyone's gonna do? This bullshit. Why do we charge? Because you don't want ads. You don't want them to monetize. This. My data is being monetized is By the way, on the record, I'd be really sad if that went away. I like that most of the ads that I see have something of interest for me. I don't like the ads on television. I don't need diapers or tampons when I'm watching this. I don't need it. I don't need your beer. I'm not going to drink your beer. I don't need that ad. I like New York Jets ads. It's a better experience when I'm targeted. The whole thing pisses me off. It really does. Not because I love social networks. I don't give a about it. I could give a about social networks. I just don't like when people talk without a complete conversation. It's free. Instagram is free for you. So they monetize by advertisers coming to you. That's like television. You know who else monetizes your data? Television. You know who else monetizes your data? Newspapers. You're reading the Wall Street Journal, you turn the page, you don't want to see that full page ad of some financial service, but they know that if you're reading the Wall Street Journal, you might want financial services. I don't know. People are very interesting to me. Because they're making money. They're making money. Or they're getting entertainment.
Yeah. No,
TikTok does not charge you for all that entertainment. Every kid on earth gets unlimited entertainment on TikTok for free. Meanwhile, they have to pay $20 a month or whatever Netflix. How much is Netflix now?
15.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know.
I don't get it. It's entertainment for free. It's building audience for free. How do you think this works? I can't wait for decentralization when it's based on merit and not the algo and the audience is there. We'll see how much people reminisce about this time and what they complained about.
Rule number 4 is lean into curiosity.
One
And once again, legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed, focused on our breathing, back to our breathing. That powerful force keeping us alive, keeping our energy flowing. And we don't really think about it. We never really attempt to control our breathing, most of us anyway. But we were born to do that too. To remember that in any moment, we can take charge of it, the way we take charge of our breathing. Same way we take charge of our mind, our thoughts. So reflect back on today. How did you do? Are you satisfied with your work ethic? Are you satisfied with your determination? Did you use it in its fullness, its beauty? Our determination is invisible. We cannot put our finger on it. We cannot see it, but it is there. We have the power to determine what we will think and what we will do. Today, we've won the morning. We've won our minds, and therefore we can win our day and our life. One breath at a time, one thought at a time.